In this video, we're going to continue to explore Atlassian's Rovo features. In this particular video, we are going to cover the Atlassian Studio. This is the last of the Rovo features that can be leveraged without AI activated. So let's go ahead and head over to our demo Jira org where we can review some of that information. All right, first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to access the Atlassian Studio app. In the top left-hand corner, you will see something here when you hover over the button that says Switch Sites or Apps. Go ahead and click on that. Here on this dropdown, you should see Studio. If you do not, go ahead and click this ellipsis icon that says More. And if you scroll down, you should see Studio there. So now that I've clicked on Studio, it's going to open up in a new tab the Atlassian Studio app. Here in the Atlassian Studio app, you will see a couple of things. So on the left sidebar, you will see Getting Started, Agents, and Settings. And then here you will see the 4 different items that we are going to cover at a high level today in this video. Here, the first item is Agents. I'm actually going to do an additional video where we go into more detail on agents with very specific use cases, so stay tuned for when that gets released. We'll cover automation, we'll cover assets, and we'll cover hubs. All right, first let's talk a little bit more about agents. If you click into agents here, you will see this screen here will ask you to create a Rovo agent. Now, before you actually see this screen, a pop-up should populate that asks whether you want all team members, so anyone that has access to your Atlassian suite, to be able to create an agent, if you want certain users to be able to create an agent, or if you just want to restrict agent creation to your org admins. I selected org admins. That way you can explore using a Rovo agent and creating a Rovo agent in a controlled environment and learn how it works prior to it being released to a larger group. So again, we'll go over in another video what that could look like in a little bit more detail with some very targeted and specific use cases. Coming over to this tab under Atlassian Support, there's a little bit more we can go over regarding agents. So Rovo agents are configurable AI teammates that can be called on or created by any team member to collaborate and move work forward. So like I mentioned before, any team member can call on the AI teammates, but again, if you do want to restrict agent creation to your org admins or specific users, it does give you the ability to do that. All right, it says agents can be accessed in chat and automation rules while editing via the shortcut /Rovo or /AI in Confluence and in Jira or in the Studio app. So depending on their knowledge and sources, agents can use plugins and access data from other Atlassian and connected third-party apps. So in the last video in this Rovo Exploration Series, we did go over how to connect any third-party apps. If your organization has done this, this is what it's talking about. So if you do have agents enabled and created, they will also be able to access any third-party connected apps. So that is something to absolutely keep in mind when it comes to compliance, security, and regulations with your organization and these Rovo agents. If we continue to scroll down, there are lots of different topics that you can review regarding Rovo agents, so it really just depends on the topic that you are looking to cover. Like I said, in another video, we'll go into more detail regarding Rovo agents where we'll explore some very specific use cases. So that is for Rovo agent. If we go back, to Studio. Next, let's talk about assets. Let's go ahead and click into assets from the Rovo Studio app. Here this says manage your IT and non-IT assets for high velocity teams. It says assets is included with Jira Service Management Premium. If you scroll down to the bottom of this page, it goes over a little bit more about how teams can use assets. So there's IT asset management, there's human resources, and then there's facility management. Really, when it comes to asset management, this is really more of the specific use cases that I think this has been designed for, is to essentially manage your tech stack and any hardware and software applications through IT asset management, or through resources and onboarding and offboarding processes, or facilities management, and making sure that you're maintaining the health and upkeep of all the different planning and things that need to happen with facilities management. So I think these are the primary stakeholders and use cases that asset management was specifically designed for. If you do come over to Atlassian support, they do have some more on an assets guide to IT asset management. So it says, what is assets? Assets is a native asset and configuration management tool for premium and enterprise plans. It gives teams a flexible and dynamic way to track all kinds of assets and configuration items, enabling teams to easily link them to service requests, incidents, problems, changes, and workloads. This helps those teams understand and visualize the critical relationship between applications, services, and their underlying infrastructure and other key dependencies. If you're not familiar what IT asset management is, then this probably isn't the tool that you're necessarily looking to use. But if you are curious about what IT asset management is, it does go into a little bit more detail here, where it says IT asset management is the process of ensuring an organization's assets are accounted for, deployed, maintained, upgraded, and disposed of when the time comes. Put simply, it's making sure that the valuable items, tangible and intangible, in your organization are tracked and being used. So what's included as an IT asset? An IT asset includes hardware, software systems, or information organization values. So really what this comes in mind is if your organization has computers that they distribute to all employees, or keyboards or mouses or monitors, those are all hardware assets that need to be managed by your IT department. Similarly, there can also be a lot of tech debt with various organizations, and making sure that all of these applications remain in compliance, they remain updated before they're no longer in service. Anything infrastructure related, you need to make sure that that's monitored and upgraded and deployed on time. And so that is another version of essentially an IT asset. So like I said, coming back to the Atlassian Studio, and Rovo Studio in particular, assets, again, are really for those three different use cases. So human resources, onboarding and offboarding, facilities management, and then, of course, your IT asset management. All right. The next aspect of the Atlassian Studio are hubs. So let's go ahead and click into hubs. This says keep everyone on track with news, verified information, and support all in one space. If you click on this, it will ask you to do one of two things. And again, we're accessing this through the Atlassian Studio app. You can either create a company hub or create help centers. So the way that I view this is, first, let me show you what it does when you click into, for example, company hub. Let's go ahead and open this up. What it does is it automatically opens Confluence, and it asks you to name and to edit and to create and eventually publish this company hub. So a lot of organizations already use Confluence to create a company hub and to organize company information, very much so like an intranet, where you have your company site or like a SharePoint site where you have all of this information. But this is very specific to Atlassian. Like I said, if companies did use Atlassian in the past, they've typically used Confluence to already just go through and create their company hub. But now through the upgraded Rovo platform and through Atlassian Studio, you can create a designated company hub. Whether or not organizations and teams will be inclined to migrate any company hub that they may have already existing within Confluence to this very specific company hub through the Atlassian Studio is yet to be seen. If I were running an organization, quite frankly, it wouldn't be on the top of my priority list, especially if there are some other tech debt items that do have dates by which that software does need to be updated and upgraded. All right, so it does just open Confluence. You can go through and edit this. They do have a very nice format already created. And so this might look a little bit different than and more modern than what you've previously seen with Confluence pages. And so that is something to keep in mind, but you do see all of the same Confluence editing features that are available here. All right, so we're going to exit out of this, and that again is the Atlassian Hub, where it asks you if you want to create a company hub or help centers. Help centers essentially let customers self-serve with support articles or get help by raising requests in Jira Service Management. I think this is very interesting, and I wonder if eventually Atlassian is going to do away with the ability to create knowledge bases in Confluence and replace them with these help centers. Help centers could potentially just be used for internal IT requests. So if you do need support from your company's IT department, they may have a help center up. So this is a way that you can go through and create those help centers. Again, a lot of organizations that do use the Atlassian product and suite have already set up help centers through Confluence. So again, it'll be interesting to see if they actually take the time to go through and migrate this over to help centers. The other aspect that I'm thinking of is with Jira Service Management, you are allowed to share knowledge bases, specific individual knowledge bases with specific customer portals through a very specific space within a Jira Service Management space. So it will be interesting to see if they being Atlassian, continues to allow you to link knowledge bases to specific customer portals. If they got rid of that, I think that would be a really, really negative outcome. Unless, of course, they allow you to do the same thing with these help centers. So as of right now, I don't think they're being replaced by these help centers. But it was interesting to me that essentially through the Atlassian Studio, you can create these hubs for both help centers and the company hub. And so it'll be interesting to see how this application continues to evolve over time, given their existing platform. All right, coming back to the Atlassian Studio, we have covered agents, we've covered assets, we've covered hubs. Let's go ahead and talk about automation. So if you click into automation from the Atlassian Studio, it will ask you where you want to automate your work, whether that's in Jira, Jira Service Management, or Confluence. I was curious as to how this differs from accessing automation from just settings and the global automation for Jira, Confluence, and Jira Service Management. And so what I did here is I clicked into Jira. It then asks you if you want to create an automation for multiple spaces or a specific space. I'm going to just continue with multiple spaces. And then I clicked Get Started. What this does is it essentially opens the Jira admin settings on the Global Automation tab. And so I'm curious to see if they're going to eliminate the navigation here in the top right-hand corner, where you can click on that and you can go under Jira admin settings and you can go to work items. And then you should see under work items a space for global automation. So it'll be interesting to see if they change that navigation in the future, but it basically just popped up global automation from Jira admin settings. And here it allows you to create rules with Rovo. I, up to this point, haven't found Rovo super helpful when trying to create some of these automation rules that you see here on my screen. That doesn't mean that they can't be helpful. It may just mean that I need to spend a little bit more time going through and providing more context and information to Rovo to actually help create the automation rules that I'm looking to and complete the function that I'm looking to accomplish. So it does just open up, again, global automation. If I go back to the Atlassian Studio and I click Confluence for automation and multiple spaces, if I click Get Started, let's see what this does. Yep, and as you can see here, it just opens up Confluence application, and under admin tools and automation, it pulls up all of the different rules that I have, whether they're global or for a specific space. So again, you do have this option to create with Rovo. It looks like you can now access automation through the Atlassian Studio. And this is, I'd imagine, if we go back here, the ability to create hubs in Confluence, the asset management within the Atlassian Studio and Jira Service Management. And then, of course, your automation. All of these functions will still be available to you. I would imagine they would still be available to you without AI activated. And so I think that's what they mean here with the Atlassian Studio. Rovo without AI activated, it still is part of the Rovo platform, but without AI activated, it does sound like you will still be able to leverage assets, hubs, and automation within Jira Service Management, hubs within Confluence, and then automation throughout your other Atlassian product suites. However, when it comes to the actual agents portion and agents being able to access, again, those any third-party app connectors are being able to help you accomplish a specific task within work or streamline any busy work or repetitive tasks, I think that's where you will need to have AI activated within the Rovo platform in order to do that. So like I said, in another video, we'll go into a little bit more detail regarding some very specific agent use cases, and we'll explore what that could potentially look like for a day-to-day operation. And then, of course, I'll spend some more time looking at and exploring how Rovo can help create some automation rules. All right, so that concludes the second video in the Exploring Rovo Features series. Stay tuned for our next release.